gentlemen, we want to welcome you today to the third points paint event of the second season of the IESC GT Series. I'm your broadcasting host, InsaneLeader13. I want to welcome you here today to the state of Indiana, city of Speedway, here in the middle of one of the most famous racetracks in the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Best known for the oval race for the American Open Wheel Series, the Indianapolis 500. Today, we're going to be looking at an alternate version of the circuit. The classic Grand Prix version, which goes back to when Formula One used to come out here and race here. This track has had quite a few shares of amazing moments and controversies. And here for our first Points Pain GT event here, we could be looking at quite some interesting things. This race, just like Long Beach last week, is the first time we've ever gone to this series in this track in this series. And today, we have what may be our largest starting grid ever in the IESC GT series. Looking down at some of the drivers, once again, Foxxy Gaming HD would come home and take the pole position. A very, very solid run by him, put him on top in the times charts, with Ferraribss237 and the Ford GT sharing the front row with him. Last week's race winner. I feel like I'm having a stroke. Last week's race winner, AMS Chum, qualified in the third position, while LudicrousSpeed, the other Ford GT, would qualify fourth. After that, you would have the likes of DragonsX Ferrari, Kazubelli, Dino Prime 77, Drift King, who initially no one thought was going to make it, but it ended up showing up. Fuzzy Potato 03, a newcomer to the series. PZ French Fry Man, who started on the front row last week. Excalcero, and the Bearded Guy all showed up here along with Matter Gaming 23, PM221, both those drivers misqualifying, as did IESC. GTRC Jacob did qualify, however he had to back out real quickly for an internet issue. He did end up getting a decent qualifying position as it came down to it. During this event today, we ended up seeing, during the qualifying today, we saw several drivers who we thought for sure were going to have better runs, end up making mistakes. Most notably, AMS Chum would end up running a little bit wide on his second qualifying lap. Very late in his run, ended up throwing away 2 of his 4 potential chances at front row position. Also, we want to go ahead and congratulate Matter Gaming. And not only is he a newcomer in the event today, he's going to be the first driver in the series who's going to be trying to make the Ferrari work, since Ferraribss did way back at Road America last season. So it's going to be very interesting, to say the least, to see if he can make anything come together. Also, however, the most interesting thing to note in today's event is that when it comes to the point standings, we are absolutely going to have a new points leader at the end of the day. The reason for that is our current points leader, Rock Morrow, who finished third at Daytona and second at Long Beach, has not able to start today's event. With that in mind, that means that drivers like Foxxy Gaming, DragonsX Ferrari, and AMS Chum, who all had, well, not so much AMS Chum, who all had decent runs in the prior few races, are now going to be poised to take that points lead going forward with this massive hole opened up. Foxxy Gaming took one significant step forward in that move, having taken home the pole position. Real quickly, we're going to want to go ahead and take a look at what the point standings are like coming into today. So, after our second race of the season at Long Beach, which was last week, the Drivers' Championship has now opened up a little bit more. Yun Vaughn and Drift King still both have 0 points each. That's not true. Yun Vaughn's supposed to have 1 point because he got pole at Daytona. TJ has a single point. The Bearded Guy has a single point as well. IESC stands in 14th of the stands with 2 points. PZ French Fry Man and PM221 are tied with 5 points each. 1 point ahead of them is Icy Jack. 10th place in points goes to Jacob Variable. Excalcero is 9th in points with 13. Ferraribss has 18 points. Kazubelli in 7th has 22 points, and he's tied with Dino Prime 77. 2 points ahead of them is AMS Chum in 5th place position in point standings. He's tied with defending series champion LudicrousSpeed with 24 points. 5 points ahead of them is Foxxy Gaming HD. He has 29 points. DragonsX Ferrari is 2nd in points with 30, and Rock Morrow has 32 points. However, as we said before, it is basically impossible, not literally impossible, but metaphorically impossible for Rock to leave this event today with the points lead, considering he's not going to be able to start in this event. Also, we want to talk real quickly about the team championship, as we have 5 teams still battling that out. Rebel Racing, with the loss of tactical file, is going to be hindered going forward, and they're already at the bottom of that team championship. Down Prime 77, ICDEC only have earned 28 points. Raven West Motorsports, made up of PZ Frenchman, Rockmaro, and TTJ11, has 38 points. Team Turbo 6, made up of Drift King, Ferraribss237 and LudicrousSpeed, has 42 points. 6 points ahead of them is SRD, which is made up of DragonsX Ferrari, Excalibur, and PM221. But the most dominant drivers, AMS Chum, Foxxy Gaming, and GTRC Jacob, with 63 points. They also have the current lead in the Drivers' Championship right now. Loading in now so we can look at our official lineup today. And we're going to go from the back to the front like we normally do in the series. 16 drivers. It says 17 right now because our series host, Coco Gamer 11, is once again running the pace car today. But in last place position, UI Scutian. It's been really rough in the preseason, and the one race he did show up at Daytona, he missed Long Beach. He's looking to maybe make some progress forward today. PM221 was able to show up for qualifying, but ended up electing not qualifying due to just personal issues. In front of him, newcomer, Master Gaming 23 in that Ferrari. It's going to be interesting to see if he can make anything work. He's going to be starting alongside the bearded guy, who's continuing to try and get some upwards momentum in this event, in this series. In front of him, Excalibur in that 777 Nissan. He's one of the first drivers to make a car change in the series, going to the Nismo, which has also taken home a victory at Daytona this season. Then in front of him, it's PZ French Fry Man, who won at Daytona last season and put himself in a reasonable position for a podium last week at Long Beach before bad tires ended up seeing him go off circuit with only a handful of laps to go. He's going to look for redemption today. In front of PZ French Fry Man is Fuzzy Potato 3. He's driving the big boy BMW M8. It's going to be very interesting to see what that thing can do today. In front of him, you have Drift King in the 4GT. Drift King missed out on Long Beach last week, but he's back here today. In front of Drift King, it's one of his good friends and partner in Rebel Racing, although they're not in the same team this series. It's Dino Prime, who's having a career renaissance in GT this series. He's going to be on the lookout for a potential top 3 today. Kazubeli is in 8th position. He's normally qualified a lot higher, but he also has had a lot of very strong runs that just kind of fall apart close to the end. This may be Kazubeli's first chance to get an outright top 5 finish. 7th place is GTRC Jacob. Jacob's going to be running in the Chevy. In front of him, or alongside him, is going to be DragonsX Ferrari. Draggers, who's going to be leading the points when it comes to drivers who are starting today's event. He's looking for a good run today. 5th place, the Fading Series champion, LudicrousSpeed. 4th place is AMS Chum. Third place is AMS Chum. 4th place is LudicrousSpeed. 2nd place is Ferraribss237, and 1st place is Foxxy Gaming HD. Now, unlike at Long Beach and Daytona, today's event is going to be a standing start. Foxxy Gaming is going to have the lead on the outside lane, while Ferraribss is going to be on the inside lane. And this is going to be an event where drivers who have traction control are going to be significantly hurting at the initial start. We're going to go ahead and follow Ferraribss on this initial start here, see if he can make any moves on Foxxy Gaming like he was able to at Lime Rock when these two did in the same place. Standing by. All right, preparing to go underway here very shortly at Indianapolis. You see various drivers warming up their rear tires, trying to put some rubber downs. Standing by. As our Series host Coco Gamer has now backed out and will be underway in about 10 seconds. And we are underway, and Ferraribss does not get going whatsoever. An absolute horrible start from the Ford GT. He's going to drop from second all the way to ninth at the initial start. And a nightmarish run to the line, and that means Foxxy Gaming is going to sail into a lead with no problem whatsoever. But they're going to be 2-3 wide out behind them, and it's going to be AMS Chum and Dragon's Ferrari going neck and neck for that second position as they go through turn 3 now. Running wide, AMS Chum is going to hold that inside line. Dragon's Ferrari is pushed wide. He has GTRC Jacob alongside, and it looks like we may have a run where we have all three teammates running first, second, and third if GTRC Jacob can get by Dragon's Ferrari as they go through the fishbowl now. And LudicrousSpeed is right there alongside GTRC Jacob as they come onto the straightaway. This is where we anticipate that Chevy will start pulling a little bit, but Dragon's Ferrari is staying solidly in the third position at the moment. And as they head down the back straightaway and now into the S's. As they come out of the S's now, GTRC Jacob is going to slip back to the 5th position. He has Kazu Belli back there looking, and GTRC Jacob's going to get into the turn, and he's going to lose another spot by the looks of it to Kazu Belli. No, that's Ferraribss. Ferraribss is already on the comeback now, and here comes Ferraribss going down the line. He's going to put his Ford GT in front of that Chevy. Now, we do know that Chevy has better straight line speed. We'll be right back momentarily. Alright, anyways, we continue to follow GTRC Jacob here as he's dropped to 7th position behind Ferraribss. And now a little bit just in front of him, we're looking at Ferraribss, who he's going to have to dig himself out of a hole. He started in the 2nd position and just stalled out at the initial start. Right now, he's making a move on Kazu Belli, though, for that 5th spot up ahead. LudicrousSpeed and Dragon's Ferrari in their own little battle for 3rd and 4th positions. And it seems like that Ford GT might actually have resolved for good that straight line speed problem that they had last season. So heading down to turn number 1, he's kept on the outside line through the 1st corner, and he's going to fall back by Draggers, and Draggers goes off circuit there. Draggers going to slip all the way down to the 6th position now. He's going to merge back on. He's 7th at the moment. So Draggers ends up going a little bit too rough into turn 2, ends up running wide and drops right out of the top 3 position. He's going to be back behind Jacob now. Meanwhile, a little bit farther back, PZ Frankfurtman is in a little battle of his own with the Ford GT of Drift King. Thus far, this is Drift King's best showing in the series, considering he was not able to put together any good run whatsoever at Daytona and didn't really have any runs of note during the preseason events. And Drift King is actually going to pull ahead of PZ Frankfurtman going through the S's here. But as we get onto the straightaway, this will be the real test. That Lamborghini that PZ Frankfurtman is running is known for one of the best straight line speed cars in the series. we'll see now just how much more speed, or at least how much less drag, those Ford GTs have compared on a straight line. As they come out of the final corner, Speedway turn 1, down the straightaway now. PC Frenchman Man's going to look to the inside. He's going to pop back in line in the draft. And now he's going to make the lunge late on the inside, but that Ford GT is going to take advantage of superior handling and braking and will stay in that 8th position. Meanwhile, back up at the front of the field, our pole sitter, Foxxy Gaming, has opened up a 2.4 second lead on his teammate and our 3rd place qualifier, AMS Chum. And Chum has a steady gap of his own ahead of defending series champion LudicrousSpeed, who qualified 4th. He's running 3rd now. And a little bit behind them, you can see even bigger battle from 4th on back. Look at this. All these drivers, all with great cars, just all thrown on top of each other right now. Ferraribss has to back out just a bit so he doesn't end up running into Jacob. And now he's going to fall to a battle with Draggers X Ferrari. And they're all going to be in pretty much a nice line going down the straightaway. The drivers in 3rd and 4th will have the best draft going down here, assuming they don't lose touch. In fact, there actually does seem to be a little bit of a gap formed between 5th and 6th now, going down the straightaway. And Jacob's going to make the lunge on Kazubeli heading into turn 1. Is not going to work out, though, and actually brings Draggers and Ferraribss right back up. And now through these twisty, tight technical sections is where Ferraribss specializes, as Kazubeli is now going to end up staying ahead, and Draggers going to drop back in front of Ferraribss now. In the fishbowl, the Ford GT is going to look wide. There is not enough racing line out there. Racing room, yes, but not enough of an outright line out there. Going down that straightaway, it looks like that battle is actually starting to break up just a little bit. You can see Ferraribss really putting it all on the line there. And Jacob, who is running there in the 4th position, seems to not have the best car going through. Oh, and they're going to be 3 wide there as they come out of the S's. Jacob might not have the best car in the S's, but it's good enough that he can defend. So as they get onto a straightaway now and head down into the Speedway turn 1, Jacob's going to open up a little bit of a gap. Draggers X Ferrari gets pushed wide, trying to maintain speed. He's going to have a little bit of a run coming out. Ferraribss is going to be leading Kazubeli. Kazubeli's going to look to the outside. Draggers X Ferrari has the grip of Ferraribss as they come down to the line. And down in the turn number 1, under braking. Draggers X Ferrari is going to abandon the lunge. And Ferraribss is going to hold on to the 5th place as Kazubeli and Draggers X Ferrari are going to go back to battling there for 6th position. Draggers X Ferrari on the inside. Kazubeli has come down to the fishbowl now. And once again, Draggers on the outside, but he had enough speed. He's going to position himself in front of Kazubeli now. And Drift King has actually begun to catch this battle now. As in 8th place, Drift King, who has now pulled away from PC Frenchman Man. And that Ford GT, he's looking at a chance to run down Kazubeli. Meanwhile, a little farther up in the field, Ferraribss and GTRC Jacob, they're going to continue their battle in the 4th and 5th positions right now. Heading down the straightaway now, and going to a dive into turn number 1. As Ferraribss, he's going to look to the inside of Jacob. He actually ran a little bit tight over that line, but wasn't really able to gain any time in that situation. I was watching that. Ferraribss did nothing wrong there. He had his tires on the curb, not over it. Alright. Coming around through the fishbowl now. Ferraribss has the inside lane. GTRC Jacobs got the inside, so you gotta be neck and neck for a 4th position. Now here's the straightaway. Those 4 GTs, a little bit better on the straightaways than last year. It seems like those words from Drift King have actually held true, but that Chevy does still seem to have the definitive advantage. Now Ferraribss is going to look to the inside of Jacob here coming onto the straightaway. He's going to try and force Jacob wide and hope that even though the Chevy is going to have more speed, it's not so much that it can overtake that longer line. And in fact, as they come onto the straightaway, Jacob's going to pull out from the top, from in front of Ferrari. He's going to fall right back in line behind him. And he doesn't look like he's going to be close enough to make a lunge. So it looks like that battle for now has gone in Ferrariboss's favor. So 4 GTs are now going to be saying 3rd, 4th, and 8th on the racetrack. Oh, a Dragzex Ferrari gets pushed into the dirt very briefly by Jacob. As Jacob was trying to look for room on Ferrariboss, did not get to correctly account for drivers behind him. And Kazubeli is the one who may stand to gain the most out of all this, as he's currently running the 7th position, and he's got Drift King, but he has a little bit of a gap on Drift King, so even if there is a little bit of a hiccup on him, it's not going to be position over for him. And that United States Marine Corps sponsors BMW as they come out of the back straightaway and into the S's one more time. Nice technical section. This is where Jacob seems to be showing the most weakness. He was able to get alongside Ferrariboss there for a moment, but now Jacob's going to fall right into a battle with Dragzex Ferrari there. Onto the straightaway now. And looking at it, and it seems like there may have just been an alteration when it comes to the leaderboard. Someone may have lagged out, looking a little bit farther back in the field as everything's going by. And AMS Chum, our 2nd place driver at the moment, AMS Chum seems to have logged out for the event. We're going to see if we can invite him into a party and see what has happened. But AMS Chum, who won last week at Long Beach, has now dropped out. And this means that Foxxy Gaming's lead is going to massively, massively increase. Looking at him, he's not even anywhere close to anyone else on the circuit as he comes onto the straightaway. We're just shy of a quarter of the way through the event, and the only driver who is even remotely keeping up with him, AMS Chum, has now dropped out. This race may have just gone to Foxxy by default as a 6.5 second gap forms between himself and LudicrousSpeed in the 2nd position. So the 2nd in 2 out of 3 races, Chum is not going to finish 2 of them, but he will win the other one. That's going to hurt them when it comes to overall points. But here in the booth with me, we have AMS Chum. Chum, go ahead, include your audio. You're running 2nd. What happened?
I see every single car on track start straight lining, and then, oh, I lagged out. So, I don't know, got to thank my brother for that one. He's always helps with the internet, so, except he doesn't. He just uses all of it and never lets me be able to do anything. But it's great. Happy. I could have had a good race with Alan, but I guess not. Or LudicrousSpeed. But, yeah, sucks.
In your opinion, do you think A1 has a chance to match Foxxy today, considering the massive gap he has opened up?
No. I don't think it's happening. Not today. I mean, he was pulling really good laps, especially in qualifying. That 3 was good.
Alright, so, out of curiosity, do you think there may end up being, now that we're looking at completing our 3rd race of the series, about 20% through this season, do you think we might start seeing balance of power adjustments come sometime soon to try and curb the speed of that Nissan that Foxxy is running?
Um, I wouldn't be able to say, because, I mean, as you saw, like, Long Beach and kind of Daytona, not really Daytona, because he still won, but, like, a lot of tracks that thing does kind of struggle, but at the same time, he is doing really well on tracks where you wouldn't expect it to do this well, so I don't really know. I don't, yeah, I don't really know.
Okay, well, anything else you want to say before you peace out here? And if you want to co-broadcast for the rest of this race, I will say you are welcome to, but...
Yeah, I have nothing better to do. Might as well, because, I don't know,
Alright.
let's see if I can stay in the race for long enough.
Alright, well then, welcome to the broadcast booth then, AMS Chum in that case, as we're going ahead and we're looking through the field, and we're going to look at your other teammate, GTRC Jacob, in the 4th position. He's driving the Chevy C7R, if memory serves correctly. So, and currently right now, he's had a little bit of a gap open up between himself and Ferraribss237 in that 3rd position. And it seems like Jacob has that vehicle well trimmed out for anything that's straight line speed focused. But through the S's and to a lesser extent through the fishbowl, it doesn't seem like that thing is very well put together right now. And he's actually slowly falling away from Ferraribss going forward. He might end up getting caught by Dragons X Ferrari momentarily here. And now a little bit farther back in the field, as we look down to Dragons X Ferrari, he's the highest running driver on his team right now, staying nice solidly in the 5th position. And it seems like this massive gaggle we had between about 3rd and 7th earlier has finally started to all break up. Kazubeli is a little bit behind Draggers right now, and then just in front of just behind Kazubeli is Drift King. And then behind Drift King is the Lamborghini of PZ French Fry Man. PZ just seems to be struggling to make a forward progress. He has the speed, but he doesn't have enough straight line speed in order to make anything work. He spends all his time trying to get himself into position, let alone actually making anything work. PM221 has fallen to a massive, massive gap between himself and PZ French Fry Man. You can see there's literally no one around him right now. And it seems like that 2nd place runner-up points run curse that we see in many other motorsports is coming true here. Now we look in 10th place, Dino Prime. Dino, he said coming into this race, he honestly believed he had a top 5 car. Right now, it looks like he's barely holding on to a top 10 position. Also, he is running with basically no one around him. Then you have the BMW run by the bearded guy, another several seconds behind Dino Prime. Really nothing he can do at the moment. 12th place is Exculsoro, one of Dragons X Ferrari's teammates, and he is running in his own little group with him, Fuzzy Potato, and Matt Gaming, as we're going to watch from Fuzzy Potato for just a little bit here. And that BMW big boy, BMW announced that after only 1 season of performance in the WEC, they're going to be pulling out after tomorrow's race at 24 hours at Le Mans. So it's always going to be a shame that such an iconic and mimetic car is going to end up being dropped out of competition. Such an iconic machine. Then just behind one of the older cars in the series, it's that Ferrari that's being driven by Matter Gaming, and Skullstrode actually seems to be having a lot of struggling with that Nissan. So all 3 of these drivers all basically piled on top of each other right now, heading down the straight. Matter is going to look to the inside of the BMW and heading into the end. And Matter Game is actually going to hit those cones just for a bit there. Oh, and they made contact, and those cars actually, Chum, you're right. Those 2 cars hooked on each other on the exit, and it looks like, I have to wonder if maybe that legendarily poor handling that Ferrari is having is what may have been the overall cause for those incidents.
Yeah.
But as these 2 are doing that in the 12th position up ahead, Exculsoro is actually starting to walk away just a little bit, and then we look to the very last place driver on the track, UI Scutian. He's already a lap down. This season seems to have been an absolute nightmare for him, and unless something absolutely crazy happens, I'm not seeing that improving much going forward. But meanwhile, looking back at the front of the field, at our pole sitter and current race leader, it's Foxxy Gaming HD with a massive, massive gap on the rest of the field. As we look at our ticker, 9.2 seconds after 16 laps. So with that rate, I think you can say he's adding about 1.8 seconds to his lead every lap. And that's just over the second place driver. That's saying nothing about the rest of the field. I'm going to be honest, unless there's a yellow flag and Foxxy gets caught up in something there, I think he's going to walk off with this. And I think the rumors that begin spreading about a possible balance of power adjustment against the Nismo may come into play. But, Chum, I want to talk to you real quickly. I know you do have a little bit, and we're in the loading screen, so it looks like someone may have lagged out. Yeah. But, Chum, I want to talk to you and hear from your briefly here, and...
Foxxy! It was Foxxy!
Wait, what happened?
Foxxy lagged out.
Foxxy, our race leader, Foxxy Gaming HD, has dropped out, and along with him, our last season's second place finisher, PM221, have both lagged out. The entire race has just gone through a complete change as Foxxy Gaming and PM221 have both lagged out. We're going to try and talk to them both and see what happened. But absolute chaos on the track as our first and second place drivers just 5 laps ago have both dropped out of the event now. And this means that up in front is last season's champion, LudicrousSpeed, here at Indianapolis. And this track, FIA Grade 1, very similar to Silverstone. He won at Silverstone last year in a strong showing after coming from midfield to the front late in the event. This might be his chance to start making some major points. But absolute travesty for Foxxy Gaming. Chum, I was going to ask you just before that happened, what was your thoughts on a possible balance of power change, considering that we have obviously Foxxy in that Nismo performing extremely high, and then at the same time you have Excolzero, who is performing very poorly. How do you decide? Do you continue to hurt the driver in the back of the field to try and improve the front? Or do you let things stay in the status quo?
I mean, I wouldn't really be able to tell. I mean, because with Excolzero, it would probably annoy him a bit if he were to get dropped down by that much to balance Foxxy out. Also, really quickly, I just wanted to bring up how it is a 4GT12 currently, which is really good by them. So, but yeah, I mean, it definitely could happen, but at the same time, I could see it not happening. I don't know. I definitely think it can go either way.
Okay, so here's one more thing. Out of curiosity, do you feel free to talk about what your strategy in particular was for pit stops today, if things were continuing the way they were?
During the first couple of laps, I figured out that it was 3% fuel and tires a lap, so I was probably going to pit in lap 15-ish. So pretty early just to try and get an undercut on a lot of people. But yeah, it didn't work out, obviously.
All right, and now joining us in the booth very shortly here will be our pole sitter and was race leader until he dropped out, Foxxy Gaming HD. He seems to be having a little bit of trouble jumping in. Yeah, it's more than likely a case where internet is causing the issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the party we now have Foxxy Gaming HD. Foxxy, go ahead, include your audio.
7th place Drift King.
What a disappointment.
A little late on the brakes and gets sideways. He was okay though on the end of the back straight. It's okay right now, but they were very close between PZ and Drift. Right.
Foxxy, go ahead and share with us your thoughts on this event.
Well, I suppose at least it wasn't as bad as Long Beach, despite the DNF. But, yeah, not happy. Internet just entirely nuked itself and just shut off everything that was internet related in my house, so...
Well, you're going to finish, by the looks of it, you're going to finish in the 14th position because just before you lagged out, PM221 also dropped out of the event. So I'm going to have to look at the points one more time to see if you'll actually earn points from that. But either way, very, very rough. You did get the point for the pole position, and you were opening up a massive gap. We did the calculations here in the booth. Do you want to hear how much of a gap you were pulling?
Go on. I know the car was going quickly.
On everyone except Chum, you were pulling roughly a 1.8 second gap on the rest of the field every lap.
Jesus. I didn't realise it was quite that much. I've somehow managed to find a magic setup for the messing around this track, and yeah, I guess it was showing. But yeah, unfortunate for the whole team because Jacob's the only one we've got in there now.
Yes, and speaking of your teammate Jacob, who is currently sitting in the third position, out of curiosity, before we talk on him, I do want to hear, what is your opinion on the good pit strategy for today's event? We're just about halfway in this race, which is normally when we start seeing drivers make their pit stops.
Well, I can't speak for every car, but I think most of them will probably be in the similar boat, where this race will probably be dictated by tyre wear, not fuel, because certainly my car was wearing its tyres within its fuel tank. It could go 27 laps before needing to pit, so they can easily do a one-stop. It's just how early or late do they want to take it, depending on their tyre wear, I think.
Alright, well, do you have anything else you want to say before we go ahead and continue on here?
I don't know, just a shame for the team. We were looking at a 1-2, then Chum lagged out, and then obviously me. So, you know, just the pace is definitely in the car. I know the car's quick. I know I've got the pace to run it towards the front as well. So it's disappointing, especially after Long Beach. But at least I can't blame driving standards today. They seem to have at least improved from where I was sat.
So just to verify, you will try and appear in 2 weeks for our next race in the series, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Well, personally, I think that's great to hear. So, once again, we want to thank you for being willing to share with us not just your thoughts on the race, but also what your anticipated strategy was going to be heading forward. And now we're also getting word that our current race leader, LudicrousSpeed, and his teammate Ferraribss are also both suffering internet hiccups right now as they're coming up on lap traffic. That, coupled with very worn tires and very low fuel, I think LudicrousSpeed is trying to push out as far as he can when it comes to stopping because he's afraid of the car lagging out and dropping out of the event during a pit stop. He's running side by side with his teammate Ferraribss right now on the back straightaway. We're going to follow these two and see if they end up lagging out. And actually, there's the overtake.
First? Oh. I was also going to say 6th and 7th place, Drift King and PZ, they just switched positions, but they're side by side on the back straight. Seems like Drift King will have this through the back straight, but PZ definitely has the straight line on him in the Lambo. So we'll see if he'll be able to get back. All right, here come the two Ford GTs
making their stop in first and second position, Ferraribss and LudicrousSpeed. They've both stopped. And this means that Jacob is going to inherit the lead. Dragon's X Ferrari is going to make his stop as well. A little bit of contact.
Drift King and PZ is also coming in.
Okay, so now the question is going to be more of who's not stopping right now. So Jacob is going to be running out by himself for the moment. As we bring up the damage telemetry, his front tire is at about 63 to 66%, but his tire is fine. Now, who's running second? And coming out of the pits... Well, second place is going to go to Dino Prime. Yeah, so Dino is going to continue running. He's even better when it comes to both fuel and tire wear.
Well, Alan kind of corrected, but he at first went out of the pit exit, but he corrected back, so it shouldn't be a big deal unless Coca decides otherwise.
And I just got word, good thing I'm picking up on that, Chum, because I just got word that LudicrousSpeed is going to get a post-race 1 second time penalty for improper exit from the pit lane. And now Jacob is going to pit out of the top spot here. So now Jacob is going to stop. And now this means Dino's got to be at the catbird seat. Is he going to go ahead and lead a lap and try to push out, or is he going to go ahead and stop
and
now?
And Axelcio tries to make a move on the outside. He will make it into 7th place past Bearded Guy in the BMW. It was a really good move through that corner. You just have the grip through the outside.
I think Jacob's going to come out behind the Fords.
We're going to watch Jacob here and bring up the map real briefly, just like you're saying, Foxy. And we're going to see, and yes, there it is. Jacob is going to be behind both of the Fords. Is he going to be behind Draggers X Ferrari or not?
Wow,
and no, he's going to stay ahead of Draggers. So the big thing, though, is that Ludicrous, with that 1 second time penalty, he needs to push as much as he can to get ahead of Jacob, so that way he can lock up that 2nd place position. The gap between them right now, we're going to see as the ticker goes by up on top of the board there. And the ticker says that the gap between 2nd and 3rd is currently 0.5 seconds. So Lucas needs to double this gap outright if he's going to want to do anything. And a little bit farther back in the field, and you were pointing to this battle earlier between the Bearded Guy and Exculsoro. They're continuing to battle here for the 6th spot, heading down that back straightaway now. Okay, so Foxy, Chum, I just want your guys' opinion. If you're in the position of either Jacob or Ludicrous, how do you tackle the race from here on out? You've already made your final stop. What do you do in those positions?
With how spread out the field is for this race, I don't think a caution is going to be... Because it's not big groups of 3, which is the minimum for a caution. So I don't think we're going to have any of them, so they're going to have to race for these positions.
I would say, if you're in Jacob's position right now, you don't need to challenge at all unless you think you're going to be able to catch Ferraribss. All you need to do is put pressure on him, because either that'll end up him making a mistake or just being able to stay within a second. In Alan's perspective, you just have to...
He's trying to duck up the inside of Ludicrous pretty much every corner at the moment, though.
Yeah, you just have to go flat out in speeds, or Ludicrous speeds perspective. I don't know what to
and
say,
also,
but, yeah.
Here goes up the inside.
Yeah, this is going to be
Can he make the
interesting,
move?
and they're going to be neck and neck. This might be the move. Jacob's not had the most stable car through the S's, but it looks like he's going to force it through there. That's exactly what he did. Excellent move in a place on the circuit that he's not the strongest at. But
Ludicrous is back
up
at the inside, though, on the inside of the bank. So that might nullify the Corvette's straight line speed advantage, because he will be on the outside for that banking.
And you're absolutely right. No, you're not, because Ludicrous briefly tapped the grass there. I think that hurt that inside momentum, and Jacob got the draft from that 4GT.
4GT actually has a straight line over it.
Yeah, it looks like once you force somebody else a little bit wide, the lack of speed the 4GT has is kind of a moot point. And Jacob actually went a little bit wide heading into turn 3 there. So this is going to be the most interesting battle. And the big thing is, for LudicrousSpeed, obviously he wants to try and maintain 2nd position. But he also knows the longer he goes and battles Jacob, the more and more likely his teammate Ferraribss will be able to take home the victory here, assuming that we have no other yellows. And again,
speaking of that as
event,
well, Ferraribss is currently pulling on these two by about a second a lap, because they're so caught up in this battle.
And you also need to look at Draggers is catching up on them really quickly at this point. I think he's only about a second behind now.
Oh, Jacob's off in the grass.
Oh, and they made contact!
between the two.
LudicrousSpeed stuck it up on the inside of Jacob, and they both made contact. LudicrousSpeed stopped
that'll
the
let
pull
Draggers
over
get
so
past.
Jacob could get back by. So Draggers gets by all of them.
That might have just sealed the victory for Ferraribss, though,
And
as long as he
LudicrousSpeed
doesn't
just got
mess up.
another penalty added on, another half-second penalty added due to that contact.
All Ferraribss
I
needs to
imagine
do
that's
at this
going to
point
be
is
a
run
massive
consistent
issue
pace.
in the post-race. because LudicrousSpeed did pull over and try and enable Jacob to regain that spot. One second.
Ludicrous is definitely gonna have to wait
One
up.
second,
Or,
Coca, I got the instant on the broadcast. You can review it post-race. All right, but going forward now, it seems like there's already been some politicking to try and see if they can get that final penalty overdone. But now Draggers X Ferrari has moved all the way up into the second position. Draggers coming into this race with second in the points. If he can finish second here, he'll probably end up leaving with a very solid points lead. Because you got to think, Foxxy, I hate to say it, man, you're out of a race. You don't really have a chance to make up points, really. Chum, between this and Daytona, it's not coming for you. Rock's not here. Yeah. I think Draggers might leave here at the top spot in the point standings.
I think Draggers could probably even drop behind Jacob and LudicrousSpeed, and he'll probably still have a points lead as well. This race is very much fallen into the hands of him for championship-wise, at least.
And I must say, this has been an absolutely great resurgence by Draggers X Ferrari. Last year, he had a respectable season for sure, but he was constantly it was always overplayed and oversaid how he was always seemed to be the number 2 driver to PM, and this season that's completely shifted. Draggers isn't really pulling from Jacob right now, or Ludicrous also, but it doesn't look like they're getting any closer either. I will say this though, in 5th place, it's Kazubeli. Kazubeli has done an amazing job at both Daytona and Long Beach, staying in the top 5, and just having it slip away from him in the final few laps. Do you think this may be his chance to finally get a top 5 finish here?
He might actually be able to get a top 4 because of Ludicrous's penalty. He might be able to catch up that 1.5 seconds, I think it was, up to Ludicrous. That's all he'd need to get the top 4.
Yeah, we know for a fact that Ludicrous is going to get a 1 second time penalty for not exiting the pits properly. The final 0.5 seconds though is still up in the air and will probably be further debated in the post-race.
At the moment, Kazubeli is only 1.3 seconds behind LudicrousSpeed, so he only needs to catch up a little bit, and there's a long way to go in the race,
Jacob might have a run on Draggers though, on the front straight.
And you're exactly right. He does have the run on Draggers heading into turn 1, but it was not enough to make that move work. As I'm trying to make the broadcasting controls work and kind of screwing that up right now. This is the closest they've been all day, and we saw Jacob, even with that really iffy Chevy, he's been able to make passes stick in the more technical sections. He might have what it takes to get by Draggers.
But Draggers as well, he said he's running very low aero because he had some tune issues before this race started, so he's had to revert to the Daytona setup. So he's going to be really struggling through these tight sections.
Well, this is where it's going to come in. 2 cars that are both going to be struggling through the S's. Draggers actually cut the dirt just a bit there with the driver's side of the car. But as they now come back onto the... It's not a literal straightaway, but we kind of call it straightaway at Daytona, obviously. Speedway turn 1 at Indy, obviously, is not a literal straight, but it's considered a straight, considering it's flat out and you don't really have to sacrifice. And here comes Jacob with that run. This may be the spot. This is the podium battles right now. And if something happens to either of these two, like something major, like one of them have to veer off the circuit, LudicrousSpeed may be the one to benefit.
Or actually, even out of all of that, Kazubeli might be able to benefit because he's closing up on these guys as well now.
Jacob cut the... Wow! Sorry to interrupt you there, Foxy. That kind of elicited a startle out of me. What were you saying about Kazubeli there?
Well, he's closing up on this group ever so slightly, so if these 4, or even if just Jacob or Draggers get in a tangle, he's going to be right up in that group where he'll even exceed the 1 second penalty from LudicrousSpeed. So he's in a prime position right now as well.
This could be a weird chance to look at if at this point, if there's 4 drivers bunched up at this point, you could maybe slightly be looking at a possibility of a caution. Because you wouldn't expect there to be this many drivers bunched up at this point during the race, but they are close enough together that that's something you could possibly think about. Obviously not rely on, but...
And we're also now getting words that Dragon's Ferrari internet is also beginning to give him issues. His in-car stream that normally runs concurrent with these broadcasts has apparently just gone down as well. So thankfully it was the stream and not his actual race, but it seems like internet issues are really the story of the day, considering that both you guys, who seemingly had podium positions locked up, dropped out. PM dropped out.
Young Von couldn't even make the race because he couldn't get into the lobby.
He could.
And then the 4 GTs had an issue with pit stop strategy, possibly knocking them out of the race. That didn't come to play, but... Oh, and Jacob got loose there behind Draggers, and that brought Ludicrous right back up onto him. Ludicrous may have a chance to try and regain 1 spot if he's going to have to get by both of these drivers and fast. There's only going to be 11 laps to go when they get to the line. And that gap between first and second, almost 5 seconds now.
Oh, Draggers is up in the grass. Jacob's gone by.
And Draggers goes wide! Oh, wow! And Dragon's going to go wide right in front of them, and now Jacob is going to go back up into the second spot, and that starts right at the beginning of that straightaway, so it's going to really hurt.
But will Ludicrous
And
be able to pull that
Cazubelli
1
is
second on him?
1.4 seconds behind Draggers and about 1.7 behind Ludicrous right now.
Ferraribss seems to have really upped his pace. He's now running laps that are of 22.4s to 22.8s over the last few laps.
Do you remember, out of curiosity, do you remember what kind of lap times you were running before you dropped out? Both of you guys.
The
I'm
best
curious
I
as to
got.
how that compares.
Best I got before I lagged out was a 22.1.
I was running like consistent 22.7s.
All right.
1:22.7s, I guess. Seems like Ludicrous is pulling a gap on Draggers, though.
But it's going to have to be a really significant gap. He knows for a fact he's going to lose a full second by race in and possibly even a 1.5 seconds. He needs to catch Jacob and then start doing what his teammates doing. And then real quickly, I want to kind of break away from this battle from 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 5th. I want to look back a little bit more. Drift King, I want to mention him real quickly. Good job on this final car in the 4GT group. He had a horrible race at Daytona, added to it by his own... I don't want to have Chum finish the sentence, but let's just say not nice driving, which ended up really upsetting a lot of people throughout that event. He missed Long Beach altogether. A 6th place, relatively clean run today. Not a redemption arc, but definitely a step in the right direction. And yet, behind Drift King, it's like stories of just frustration. PZ Frenchman came in here, thought he had a great car, didn't work out. Dino Prime, I talked to him before the race, he said he thought he had a top 5 car. He's 8th now, but only on the back of all the drivers who have dropped out, not off of race pace. And 9th, Exulstra, that's Draggers X Ferrari's teammate. He continues to be the odd man out in that team, even though he swapped to the Nissan that Foxxy is in. So now, I do want to go ahead and talk to Foxxy real quickly. Foxxy, here's the thing. You're still driving the Nissan right now.
Yes.
And Exculsro has also jumped into the Nissan. And yet, here at Indy alone, we're seeing a massive difference in performance between the two. Why do you think the difference is? Do you think it's driver, or do you think there's something else there that's enabling this massive gap in performance?
Well, one thing that was mentioned in the party before I dropped out, we were talking about that a little bit, and he seems to have messed up his gearing somewhat. He's really struggling down the straights. I think he was losing like 10 miles an hour to even just my GTR. So I think he's just got a dodgy setup for this race. I think he will bounce back if he can get his car working. But yeah, he's just got an awkward setup for this race.
They're too wide for second, though. I'm just going to barge in, but they were too wide for second right there, Ludicrous and Jacob, which has enabled Draggers to catch up that bit that he just lost over the past
Oh,
2
there's
laps.
contact again, and Jacob sideways. That's the third time we've seen.
Oh, and
Ludicrous
Jacob
hit
gets
someone.
stumped right off the front end of, and they're gonna be
They're
3
the-
wide on the back straightaway. There's 3 wide on the straight. Who's gonna end up coming ahead? And Ludicrous is gonna back all the way out of it. That extra contact is not gonna help Ludicrous's case at all.
Oh, there, Dragon's sideways as well.
Oh,
I
and
think he got
And Dragons
sideways
now
off
bumps
the
off
rear,
of Jacob right in front of Ludicrous, and they're gonna be neck and neck once again. And Kazu Belly is there now, so it's become a 4-car battle once more.
Ludicrous has to get away now. I mean, obviously Cass is within that 1 second now, so if Ludicrous wants to keep any
But
of the
he
top
can't
four
because he's
positions,
side by
he has
side
to
with
get going.
Casabelli.
Yeah, Kazu's right there. He's right on Ludicrous, and I think he's gonna try and make a dive here at the end of the straightaway. Kazu Belly, he's fighting for 4th. I think Kazu doesn't realize Ludicrous has those penalties yet, so he may still be thinking he's going for 4th, when really the battle might be between him and Draggers if Draggers has a little mistake. He just did. Draggers cut the dirt there through turn 2. And now Ludicrous dives to the inside, Draggers X Ferrari once more.
And Jacob's off in the grass.
Jacob is in the grass!
Jacob swapped
Jacob
the
runs
pace.
extremely wide!
Oh, and Draggers is off in the grass as well.
Draggers
Right
also
back on
runs off!
track. They're too
He's
wide
gonna get
for
back on
4th.
track, but Draggers and Jacob go from 2nd and 3rd to 4th and 5th! And now the question is gonna be with LudicrousSpeed, who's now in 2nd, can he pull out that 2.5 gap he needs to lock up 2nd position? He has Kazu Belly back there, and Kazu is just as fast, if not faster, on the straightaways, and has a very good, albeit neutral, car in the corners. This is gonna be mad. Kazu Belly is 0.6 behind Jacob, 0.6 behind Kazu. So right now, if the maximum penalty happens, Ludicrous does not have enough of a gap to maintain 2nd position. And
He
again,
will only drop to
people
3rd
who-
at the moment, though.
Yeah. From what we
also,
know, it'll
to the
only be
people, to the people watching right now, I'm sorry that all of our focus has been right here, but right now this battle for 2nd through 5th is the only significant battle going on the circuit right now. So, normally I like to try and spice things up and show a lot of other action. This is it. This is all the action, and it's absolutely nutty right now. We're gonna spend the next bout. We're gonna go ahead. Of these drivers in this battle here, who do you think we should run the next lap on board with?
I'm thinking Casabelli.
I mean, my vote is on Jacob, but it could probably be anyone because they're all swapping positions right now like mad. So.
All right. Well,
Oh, and
before we do
Jacob
that, I
gives a
just
little
want to point out,
nudge to Cassis. But
I'm
it seems
watching
okay.
Dragons X Ferrari. Once they come down to the start-finish line, we'll go ahead and go quiet in the booth for a full lap, so you can get a feel on what running here at Indy GP on board with the car is like. Watching Dragons X Ferrari right now, and he's right there behind the battle as Jacob is coming. I'm sorry, I shouldn't use that term. Jacob is storming right up inside of Kazu Belly, and now Draggers is trying to come back on Jacob also. And Ludicrous is desperately hoping that this battle goes long.
Ferraribss has
Anyways,
a 10
we're gonna go ahead.
gap over Ludicrous as well now, so I think he's got this in the bag.
We're gonna go ahead and ride on board with Kazu Belly, all silent in the booth for a full lap at Indy. that's a full lap on the Indy GP circuit, as Fuzzy Potato is now going to go a lap down to this little group.
Oh, and Cassis
second and
makes a
fifth.
dive on
And Kazu
Ludicrous.
got right up there on Ludicrous. So going by that lap traffic, Ludicrous had to adjust his line. Even though the blue flag was thrown for Fuzzy Potato, it was enough that Ludicrous had to give up time. And Kazubeli had a chance. And here comes Jacob now. He's going to storm up on the inside of Kazubeli, make a very nice, smooth, clean move. And Jacob's going to go back on Ludicrous.
We were saying there's not a lot of action back down the pack though, but Dino Prime has been very quickly catching up on PZ French Fry for 7th and 8th, and those two are right together now. In fact, Dino Prime's just gone past him.
Now, and PZ French Fry Man has actually got sideways there and gave up the spot to Dino. So Dino finally makes his first on-track overtake of the race. Good job on catching that. I honestly had kind of forgotten about these potential battles. PZ had a decent qualifying run, but it's just been a slow, steady drop through the field throughout the event. He was as high as 5th, I believe, on the first lap, and now he's all the way back to 8th. Strategy and just car setup just has not seemed to work out for him. And Dino, it's not the finish he wanted, but it's kind of a case where he's going to have to take it. He can't look a gift horse in the mouth. He really has a car that barely should finish top 10. Second's going to be great for him. And now, once again, we look at the situation between 2nd and 3rd, and Jacob right back on LudicrousSpeed's ass.
These four
We're
have
only
kind of
looking
split
at
into two pairs now. I say that, and they all bunch back up again.
Yeah, Ludicrous made a mistake in turn 3, and that brought the entire group up together. I don't think Ludicrous is going to come out here anything better than 5th, simply because unless Jacob and Draggers make that mistake where they both go off circuit again, I don't think that he can make up the time. I think this battle has really gone between Jacob, Kazubeli, and Draggers. And although for Kaz's sake, I gotta give him credit. He doesn't know that Ludicrous has a penalty, I'm pretty sure, and he's just battling with him like it's anything else. This race, I'll say, is a godsend for Kazubeli. He's been looking to finally pull out a good finish for a long time. I think today's going to be it. He's looking at a career high, possibly even a 3rd today.
He has been very impressive today, yeah. I will agree with you on that. It seems Jacob's just managed to pull away a little bit, so I think as long as he doesn't make a mistake, he should be clear of this group for the last couple of laps.
Oh, Draggers is going to make a real deep dive on Cassis. Cassis is going to try a switchback, but Draggers will cover it off.
Kazubeli's trying to get
Very
back up
nice
the inside,
promo.
though.
Draggers seems to have a little bit of trouble maintaining rear grip going into turn 3 there, and Kazu cut the dirt just a bit, trying to get and stay alongside Dragger. Now he's going to make that nice lunge into the fishbowl. Ooh, Dragger's right up next to that tire wall there. I almost thought he was going to go right into it. Also, when our leader comes to the line, it will be 2 laps to go here. This will be in just 3 races. 2 of them will be green from start to finish. And not only that, we didn't have any caution-free races last season. I think it's very easy to say that this season, all the drivers, or at least the vast majority of drivers, have significantly stepped up their game. Although it also helps that the field gets spread out a lot more now. And we're actually going to be looking at another all-green race. So I myself am very, very glad to see that kind of impressive improvement on the drivers. And Draggers X Ferrari makes the move on Kazubeli, and yep, Draggers going to go back into 3rd now.
Kazubeli just sweeps around the outside, though. He's got a lot of grip in that BMW, although he has just run out of grip on that following turn.
It's absolutely impressive. I honestly believe that if there ends up being another race like today's where we have significant number of high-running drivers drop out, Kazubeli is like a perfect dark horse candidate to maybe steal a win this season. he showed promise at Daytona, but he did not have the field mileage to make it on a single stop like you two did. Well, not even you, Chum. And then at Long Beach, he ran top 5 up until the final 2 restarts where he got pretty much shuffled out. So. And real quickly, LudicrousSpeed, it seems like that car has significantly dropped off as we bring up the telemetry for the damage as we come to the white flag. His front tire is over 50% wear. His rears are at 30%. And from what I can't confirm this. All I can say is that the rumor is that the way the Ford GT has gotten some straight line speed back is by ripping out as much downforce and mechanical grip as they possibly can, and it might be hurting them significantly at the end of the run, because in the first stint also LudicrousSpeed lost significant time to not only his teammate Ferraribss, but Drag's Ferrari, Jacob, and everyone else behind him, and now Ludicrous, even without the penalty, it looks like 5th is the best he's going to get.
Whatever issues Ludicrous is having with his car, though, it really doesn't seem to be affecting Ferraribss. Literally every single lap for like the last 10 laps or so has been sort of between 22.4 to 22.8. He's just been running really consistent and just pulling that gap away as the others have been fighting.
Also, Drift King in the 6th place in the other Ford GT, although his lap times aren't on the same pace, he's also been doing a nice, consistent job all race long. But ladies and gentlemen, our race leader, Ferraribss, he's coming out of the final corner, and he's going to take his first victory by 13 seconds over GTRC Jacob. Congratulations to the Ford GT. And now we look real quickly at the battle from second on back. GTRC Jacob, your guys' teammate, he's going to try and carry the team on his shoulder. He will come home second. Third place is going to be Drag's Ferrari. Another solid run for him. He will definitely inherit the points lead. Kazubelli finally brings home a top 5. In the 4th spot, LudicrousSpeed more than likely is going to come home 5th. 6th place, and that's going to be Drift King, who crosses the line right there. 7th place, here comes Dino Prime. Once again, he's all on his own. He's going to have to be satisfied with this finish as he comes home 7th, just a little bit ahead of PZ French Fry Man. And 8th, 9th place is going to be Exculsoro, who is still going through the S's. We're going to go ahead and try to start talking to our various race winners, but I also want to see if I can get, could either you try and get Kazubelli in here before he leaves, because I know he leaves pretty quickly usually after a race.
I will try.
Alright, here we are. So, here we go. We're going to go ahead and our post-race interviews begin here, and we're going to start with our race winner, Ferraribss237, also known as Raj, affectionately by a lot of the drivers here. Go ahead, include your audio. Congratulations on your first win in the series. What do you have to say?
I mean, I can't talk right now because I can't focus it right now. Like, unbelievable. Awesome. But it was kind of a lucky win since the 2 rivals that are hitting me lagged out and my teammate made a mistake. But I'm dedicating this win to Vaughn, you know. Pretty chill, pretty chill.
Ferraribss, just want to go back to the initial start of the race. You earned a 2nd place qualifying spot, but at the start, what happened that caused you to drop all the way to 9th place on that first lap?
I didn't get any, like, minutes or anything to say, like, what time we're starting at, so, since people were talking about party. But I climbed back up. It was really hard because of, like, my neck was hurting too, so, and plus I actually wanted to use the restroom.
Ferraribss, just quick for future reference, when your timer doesn't load, if you pause it and unpause it, that should fix it.
No, like, I knew, but I didn't know what time to start at since no one in my party told me.
Oh, okay.
Alright, well, Ferraribss, first win for the Ford GT, shockingly didn't come from LudicrousSpeed, but like last season, the Ford GT won the 3rd race of the season. This year, exact same thing. What do you think this says about you as an individual and your organization as a whole going forward?
I think that I can get some race wins. I just need like really practice hard since I did over 100 laps in this race alone, and plus I know this track like the back of my head. I mean, I focused a lot in the off season and practiced a lot during the off season, so I kind of do need to like bring up my mental capacity since like I kind of do crack under pressure.
Well, crack under pressure you did not do today. You won today's event by a 13-second gap at the end. So once again, all right. Well, you heard it here, folks, from our third race winner in 3 races, Ferraribss237. You might have started up front, but you ended up making a Herculean comeback. Congratulations once again. And now we want to go ahead and talk to our second place finisher, GTRC Jacob. Jacob, you must have a sore set of shoulders and back, considering you carried your entire team to the end here. What do you have to say?
Yeah, it was very unfortunate to what happened to Foxxy and Chum, but got the second place finish for them. So if they didn't DC, probably would have gotten 4th or 5th. But I mean, I got 4th last race, so I think this was a better race today than last.
All right, Jacob. So going down to all the battling basically after the pit stop. Did you know that LudicrousSpeed was set to get a time penalty in the post race? Like,
I heard over the radio about halfway around the track. I was really focusing on trying to get my good lap in before I had to go in and pit. But I heard something about it, yeah.
all right, did that change the way you raced him at all compared to how you raced Kazubelli or Dragger's X Ferrari?
No. I mean, not really. Me and Draggers have been on it all day trying to get back up to the group after falling down. So, once the first 2 people, Chum and Foxxy, lagged out, we were matching it.
Alright, well, do you have anything else you want to say in general coming out of this before we go on to talk to our other drivers?
No. It's good racing with Draggers, so.
Alright, well, you heard it here, folks, from our second place finisher. Now I want to talk to the final guy who is standing on the podium, Dragger's X Ferrari. Draggers, third place. What do you have to say?
Give me a sec, I've got to change it from my PC back to my Xbox. Make sure
Mainly because whenever we race together,
yeah, there we go.
We like to
Repeat the question.
be rough.
Yeah, just in general, Draggers came home third. You're probably going to leave here at the points lead. What do you have to say?
I mean, it was a fun race, yeah. Come on, it's the calmest one so far. I mean, in practice, I had a tune that was like a good second or half second faster than what I had today. But it's buggered. It got buggered completely. So I don't know what happened. Apparently saved over the Long Beach thing. So I had to rearrange that about 3 minutes before the race, and I thought, screw it, I'll just use Daytona. So I was a lot of seconds down on pace throughout the entire race. So the third's not bad, but I could have done a bit better.
Okay, so heading forward, assuming you are the points leader, do you think this means that you are the de facto guy to beat the championship, though? I know it's kind of early to ask, but in my mind, it's never too early to start wondering about points.
Yeah, you can't tell from this early in the season. You never should. Just a race can just change out of nowhere and fuck everything up. It's just out of the blue, so definitely don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Could be a good run, could be a really shit run. Just wait and see.
All right. Well, we've tried various times to talk to Kazubelli, who's brought home a career-high 4th in today's event. However, he doesn't seem to be replying to any of our invites, so we're going to go ahead and talk to our 5th place finisher, LudicrousSpeed, our defending series champion, also known as Alan Patton. Ludicrous, what do you have to say?
Well, I did not finish 4th. I finished 5th today. Yay! But it was a rough race today. We got really lucky with getting up in the first place with those 2 very unfortunate lagouts. However, exiting the pits, I was stupid. The one part of my brain that was supposed to remember follow the pit lane seemed to have shut down, and I basically handed myself a 1 second time penalty. So that's great. I was basically gonna get 5th regardless right after that. But
Asshole.
we used the Daytona tune for this race just because of that massive straightaway. And this seems to have worked. It gave the Fords their first win of the season. So yeah, that's basically it. It was rough though. I wish I'd done some tweaking with the tune because I've basically been focusing everything on Tour 24-hour Le Mans, which starts next weekend. And the tires just fell off real bad for me about maybe 10 or 15 laps after the pit. So I kind of just started falling off the pace, and I just let everyone behind me go because I had the 1 second penalty, and Raj was way ahead, so it was basically useless for me to stay much longer. So I just let him go and took the 1 second penalty.
All right. Well, heading forward, what do you think of your prospects in the rest of this series, though?
Still got good hopes though. 5th place finish is still a top 5 finish. Obviously you can't win them all. It was more or less just me having a lack of practice and really not pushing the car fully. Basically the back half of our fuel run for me was basically unknown territory because I do some laps and then quit, do some laps and quit. I never really did a full fuel run. So I mean, I'll definitely fix my ways with that, but yeah, still looking pretty good this season. I think we've moved up to, if my math is correct, I think I moved up to 2nd in points or 3rd, somewhere around that range. So, I mean, definitely. Well, what's the next race?
Road America.
Road America? Oh boy. So yeah, we'll just see what happens.
All right. Well, there's your word from LudicrousSpeed. Now we want to talk to Drift King in the other Ford GT car. Drift, go ahead and include your audio. Came home 6th today. What do you have to say?
Fuck off, yeah? What I gotta say. I literally don't have
That's it? Nothing about the race in general or anything at all?
disappointed. That's all. Disappointment.
Yeah, you're so distant and far out.
Disappointment!
Then you should start the race.
All right. Okay, well, I guess the word disappointment is all that our 6th place finisher is going to give to us. Dino Prime is, as usual, not going to join us in interviews. However, he did say that he got lucky on the start, but beyond that, it just didn't really work out for him. So I think that will more than likely end our driver interviews. We do want to go ahead real quickly and talk to our series host, Coca Gamer. Coca, I just want to say, 2nd time in 3 races we've had caution-free, so congratulations on that. What do you have to say about this event and our next few weeks in the series?
Yeah, definitely. This week was a really good upturn from what happened last weekend, which I shouldn't talk about. But yeah, today was a really good race, and honestly, we did have some moves that were kind of a little gutsy, and it's just like we're gonna have to look over it after the race here with the officials. But yeah, next week is Road America. Once again, another wide open track, kind of like Indianapolis, but maybe a little tighter. But yeah, I mean, what happened last season with Road America was really positive, and hopefully we can carry that over. But yeah,
Outside, the controversies for sandbagging, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not really cool, but yeah, I mean, from last season, yeah, but it shouldn't happen this time since most of the cars are evened out now, but yeah, I will continue to try to keep these cars more balanced than they are already, but hopefully some of the drivers next week can learn some skill, but yeah.
All right, so just want to verify. So we do know that next week is Tora's. We do know that next week is Tora's 24 Hours of Le Mans. Now, while these races are run on Friday nights, and that's going to be a Saturday to Sunday event, we just want to verify: is Road America happening next Friday, or is it going to be happening the Friday after Tora?
More than likely, it's going to be the Friday after Tora, unfortunately. But
because I have something going on possibly Friday night, we probably will have to do it not next Friday, but the Friday after.
Okay,
Possibly.
understood. So in 2 weeks, we can expect more. And we also know that a lot of the drivers in the series have plans to run in Torah. Some of them already are still in this party. AMS Chum, Dragons X Ferrari, Foxxy Gaming, GTRC Jacob. So, all right. I've been Same Leader 13. Today I was joined in the booth by AMS Chum and Foxxy Gaming HD. This has been the third race in the IESC GT series in 2 weeks. We'll be back with the fourth points pain event at Road America. But until then, I'm signing off. Thanks for joining us today. Look forward to seeing you.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this, have fun.